thank you everybody for joining us today. Especially big thank you to Lindsay, who is our keynote speaker this afternoon or evening, I should say. Little bit about myself. I am the WAI San Diego chapter president. I typically do not host these things. Our membership chair does, Lily. She does a fabulous job at organizing it, putting it together, all things that pertain to this, she does for us, and then more. So we are missing her this evening, and we thank her for putting this together. And I'm just here to hopefully fill in some big shoes. So bear with me. And for those of you that are members or are not members that have hopped on, thank you and welcome for joining us. We are basically a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We promote STEM education, careers, networking, all things aviation and aerospace related. And we try to give and provide as much opportunity to anyone at any age trying to get into either aviation or aerospace. So what we're doing is this education series where every week for the next few weeks, we are having keynote speakers that talk about all their different diverse and dynamic backgrounds in aviation, so that anyone that is interested in starting a career in this field or perhaps interested in maybe changing their focus within this industry, perhaps something else is more attractive to them to do. It provides a lot of really good insight and education of all the different opportunities. So in any case, I will stop talking now and I will let Lindsay take over as our guest speaker, and I will let her introduce herself and her background because that's what we're all here for. So thank you, and go ahead, Lindsay.
Thank you. I'm so excited to talk today with you guys, with you girls mostly. It's funny because we hear a lot like, oh, like aviation, and we automatically think pilots. And so I think it's really a fun opportunity to discuss the other side of the flight deck, which is being a flight attendant. So just a little bit about me, born and raised in San Diego, and I became a flight attendant back in 2015. I never imagined becoming a flight attendant. I went to school, UC San Diego, graduated with my degree, and I was actually working at a bar in San Diego when a girlfriend of mine was like, "Oh, I'm going to apply to be a flight attendant." I'm like, "That sounds so much fun. Like, who wants to, go you get your degree and you go directly into like be a career, right? You don't want that." So I decided to apply, and I got accepted in Delta Airlines. And I just thought it was the coolest opportunity. I was like, "Oh, I'll do it for a year." Well, 8 years later, I was still doing it. So I did make a little presentation for us just to kind of show some pictures. So I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. Okay. And can I get like a thumbs up if you guys can see it? Cool. Okay. So when you become a flight attendant, you get a lot of like the same questions over and over and over again. But a lot of it is like you get told, "Oh, you're just, a like waitress in the sky, and you're a server in the sky. That's really all you do." And customer service is a huge part of being a flight attendant. I mean, of course, it is like 95% of the job. But within that job, there are some really big responsibilities that I don't think a lot of people really understand or they underestimate us a little bit, because at 35,000 feet, yeah, you definitely want to have your pilots on board and paying attention in the flight deck. But if there's anything going on in the back of that airplane, your flight attendants are the one taking care of you. We're the firefighters, we're the medical personnel. We are sometimes the ones that are running around to make sure that everyone is taken care of as far as mentally, emotionally. I feel like I've been more of a therapist for a long time as well. So yeah, there's just a lot more that goes into it with being a flight attendant. So I found these cute little pictures of me when I got hired in May of 2015. And then I was a flight attendant all the way up until June 2nd, 2023. And I thought it was really cool, my before and 8 years later in the same engine at Delta. This is at their headquarters in Atlanta. So when I became a flight attendant, I had to go to Atlanta, and I was there for 2 months. They put me in a hotel as I went through flight attendant training. And during that training process, it was 8 pretty grueling weeks, 6 days a week. We were there from like 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And I didn't learn a single thing about customer service that entire time. I actually learned about we had, I think it was 13 different types of aircraft at the moment with Delta, and we had to learn about the emergency procedures for each one. I needed to know how many emergency exits we had, how many different type of emergency equipment we had on board. I learned how to put out fires. I learned how to um, perform CPR, and worst case scenario, even possibly deliver a baby. And thank God that never happened because I don't think I could handle it. But I know I am trained for it. We just spent 8 weeks being tested and pushed, to our best ability to make sure that while we are at 35,000 feet, we are the first form that you guys are going to run into as a passenger. You're going to come to us and let us know you're not feeling good. You're going to tell us, hey, my neighbor doesn't look well, or there's this smoke coming out of the bathroom, which people still fascinatingly still try to smoke on airplanes. So you just learn a lot more than I think we really anticipated. I remember when I went to flight attendant training, I definitely thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. I'm just going to learn how to serve Coca-Colas and peanuts, but it definitely was not that at all. I was tested every week. I had to keep up like a 90% like average score on all my tests. And honestly, I almost failed the very last test. I had to go back and perform an emergency procedure for the third time. They give you 3 opportunities, and I failed the first two, and I almost didn't make it, and I almost lost this like amazing dream and opportunity. So it is a lot harder than I think a lot of people expect. So over those 8 years, I was based originally in Minneapolis, and I was there for a couple of months before I got sent to New York City for a couple of years. And then I went to Salt Lake City. And during COVID, I was in Los Angeles, and then I went back to Salt Lake City for all of my bases. During that time, I traveled to 30 countries. I went to all 50 states multiple times. I just lived like truly the best life. I felt so lucky to have that opportunity and to see the world, but like also make so many friends and also be able to be a part of this wonderful world of aviation. You really don't see a better sunrise or sunset than at 35,000 feet. I think we all know that. I was able to experience all types of airplanes. I was able to talk to tons of people and meet the most incredible people in the world. And then I also got to try all the food and all the layovers and do all the fun things. Of course, being a flight attendant, there's a lot of fun, but then your first year is probably the hardest. You're going to miss every holiday. You're going to miss birthdays. You're going to be flying kind of the bad trips, the red eyes, the short layovers. It's not as fun when you first sign up, but the more time you put into it, the better the job gets. And by the end of it, I actually was flying solely Honolulu and Paris. And that was truly a dream come true. I mean, you can't get much better than that. But yeah, it can be pretty hard because you live out of a suitcase. I definitely struggled at times because I would want to be home, with my family, my friends, and I would miss out on a lot. But the cool thing is when you miss out on those opportunities or those events, I would, just tell my coworkers, I'm like, hey, yeah, it's my birthday. And then they would like make it so special. And like they're on the plane and they're decorating like your head with all kinds of like cookies and whatnot. But it really is a whole community and you build lifelong friends from it. I think that my favorite part is definitely the people that I've made and the friendships that I've built from it. And I still have all that support to this day. So then my final couple of months at Delta was really hard. I actually, I had to make the decision if I was going to stay or go. And I transitioned into becoming a pilot, which is another wonderful, wonderful opportunity. But leaving was harder than I had expected. And I just feel so grateful because I was able to have the 8 years as a flight attendant and have that experience take me into becoming a pilot. And I'm hoping to one day get back at Delta and see all of my friends and remind them like how wonderful this job is, whether you are a flight attendant or you are a pilot. Being in the aviation community is truly once in a lifetime opportunity. And it's like people are envious because of what we get to do. So that's really about it, about being a flight attendant. And I appreciate you guys taking your time to pop on. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was wonderful. That was really insightful and interesting. You're a wonderful speaker.
Thank you.
It was really captivating. It was really great. Okay, so does anybody have any questions, feedback, comments? No. Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so during your 8-year tenure as a flight attendant, at what point and what was it that made you think, you know what, I want to be a pilot? What was that pivotal moment that made you decide to switch paths?
It was honestly during COVID. I felt like the job, it did change a lot. And I think everyone has seen on social media that like flight attendants were kind of quite literally the punching bags of passengers. And so I feel like the job just changed. And I thought to myself, how could I keep the things that I truly love about the job, but maybe like take out a couple of the things I don't like? And then I got an opportunity with Delta. They have their pilot pathway program. And I was able to work towards getting accepted into that. And it's really funny because there are moments where I question my decision still to this day. And I have, I just finished a flight school program. I'm like, did I make the right choice? Because I do miss it and it was so much fun. But I just know that it was the right decision for me.
Awesome. And then, so for Delta employees, what constitutes you being eligible to be part of that pathway program?
So at the time, I had to earn my private pilot license and have 100 flight hours and then go to an actual pilot interview with other pilots who had like 2,000 hours and all this experience. And I was like, oh, I'm a little private pilot with 100 hours, like pick me. I'm like, please don't ask me any, like, I didn't have an instrument rating. So I was like, I pray to God they don't ask me any like approach questions. Like I just look back at it. But yeah, I earned my private pilot license while working full-time at Delta, and the 100 hours as well, all paid out of pocket. And so that was really intense and grueling. Like I spent more time on an airplane in general for 8 months than I ever want to admit, between working and like flying. It was aviation all the time, which I know we all are aware of. You're like totally consumed by it. But yeah, I remember sitting in a room full of I think there was like 40 pilot candidates. And they all were like, oh, well, like what plane do you fly? And I'm like, a Cessna. So it was really fun, and it was a cool opportunity that Delta provides for their employees.
Awesome. Wonderful. And then, so how far along are you and how much further do you have to go until you can get back with Delta?
I just passed my final check ride with ATP on Saturday. Thank you. Oh my God, it's a huge relief to get through 7 ratings. And now I'm in search of students. I'm in search for an instructor job. So if anyone's looking for CFI, MEI, I am your girl.
Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Do we have any other questions or comments for Lindsay?
I do. I have a question.
Yeah.
Lindsay, a microphone on. Let me take a look. Hi, Lindsay. I'm Jackie. Or
Hi,
Jacqueline.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It was really nice hearing your story. I think that's really amazing to jump from one position in aviation to the other. My question for you is, after 8 years, if you could look back at the start of your career and as you see women become flight attendants, is there any advice you would give to them or any habit that you picked up or dropped that you felt made a huge difference in your success in your career?
I think definitely for me, what my success came from, like the relationships I built. And like even within the flight attendant community, you cannot go through any aviation journey alone. And I think building those friendships and those relationships truly is what makes you successful. And I think that during my training, my flight attendant training, I forgot to have fun. And I think that's one of my biggest regrets. I was so focused on like, and I have a couple of girlfriends in here who know I'm like, I only get 100%. And so when I literally would fail one question and it was like the end of the world. And it's like not the end of the world. So I just think that we're so hard on ourselves, especially as women. And I think that we all need to give ourselves some grace in this community, especially. So yeah, don't be so hard on yourself and make some friends.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Hey, if I can go.
Yeah.
I'm Maddie, and I fly per American, by the way. And so I guess we're rivals, but that's okay.
We can still be friends.
Yeah, you can still be friends. Yeah. Hey, so as a pilot, and the closest I've ever been to being a flight attendant was flying 19-seater turboprops, which tells you how old I am.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I'm really old. But Louise is down there laughing at me. Yeah. But seriously, so people come up to me all the time, and they're like, "Hey, my daughter, sometimes my son, wants to be a flight attendant," and I'm like, "I guess you apply or something." So can
Yeah.
you tell me what to tell them?
Yeah. So it might sound like really unprofessional, but like literally just like you go online, like Google like flight attendant jobs. It's like just you find the website. I applied directly on Delta's website. They're constantly hiring flight attendants, like no matter what the airline is. But yeah, you fill out an application online. I want to say it was like 15 pages long. It's so detailed. And then from there, I know that at least for my time. So there was the application process online, and then we would do a video interview, which is like, it's weird because it's not a video with like people. It's like you recording yourself answering questions, which I hate, I try not to look at myself when I'm talking because it's like always so intimidating. But you do that, and then you do a phone interview. And then from there, they usually will send you to their training center. And I went through, I think 8 weeks now, maybe it's only 6 weeks for different airlines, but it's I would say the hiring process, like the application is the hardest part. And then once you get in, as long as you like stay focused on studying and you stay focused on like the training, you can definitely be successful. I think they have a really high success rate for that. But yeah, just you apply online and look for opportunities. Like I would definitely say like the majors is the way to go. I think that, if you're going to do it, you might as well like full send go for the majors because we do this job to travel the world and that's how you're going to get to do it.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
I have two questions. Okay. One, going off of what you just said, is it similar to pilot where you would need to like start at a regional, or you started right at the major? Is that harder to get in right away with the major without having prior experience?
They look for customer service experience in general, I would say. So if you ever worked as a waitress, if you ever worked as a host, Delta, they love to hire like Disney people. Like I feel like I knew so many Disney princesses at Delta. I swear, like literal, they used to be a Disney princess. Like I think it's so cool. So yeah, anything customer service related, they like. But yeah, I went straight to the majors. Like they were the first and only airline I applied for. I got super lucky. So I don't think that you have to start at a regional where yes, like on the pilot side, they want those hours. It's different on the flight attendant side.
Gotcha. And then what was your typical schedule like?
So that's a great question. So it is truly the most flexible job ever, especially the more time you put into it. And so I would say your first year, you're going to be working weekends, you're going to be working holidays. But it's really flexible because Delta is not an on-call right away, where other airlines, like you're going to be on call probably like 20 to 25 days a month. Delta, you get like a line is what we call it. So you get a schedule of set days with only 6 days on call in the beginning. And usually I would get assigned in the very beginning, I think it was like 15 to 20 days a month. You're guaranteed 10 days off. And then from there, it's like a game of like trying to just improve your schedule and your layovers. And so you're like switching trips, you're switching days, you're playing with the system to try to make everything like work better for you. And then towards the end, like I would get such good trips. Like I got to the point where I was working 3 days a week. Like I said, my Honolulu trip or my Paris trip, which was super fun. And then it was like, oh, I don't need to work as much. And then I realized like, oh, I probably should work. And like, I would have to pick something up. So yeah, the more time, the more flexible it is. I remember like there'd be like, I'd get my schedule and I'm like, oh, perfect. Like this works out great. Or maybe I want to work a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and someone else doesn't want to. So it's definitely not your normal 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I used to work maybe like 6 days on, 6 days off because my husband's a firefighter and he has 6 days off in a row. So I would literally match up my schedule with his, and then our 6 days off, we would go and like go down to Mexico for a couple of days. So, I mean, if that doesn't get someone to be a flight attendant, I don't know what can convince you, because it's like, it's truly the most flexible thing and the funnest job to do. Any other questions? I see a couple notes. Thank you, ladies.
I see, super proud. Okay. Okay. I guess, yeah, same thing. Any other questions? No? Okay, so I guess what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start concluding. I want to just thank you again, Lindsay. Oh, what Louise said, and you congrats on the CFI.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay, so what we'll do next is, like we said, we're gonna go ahead, and this is a recorded conference, so we're gonna upload that to our new YouTube channel, which we're still putting that together. Lily's gonna go ahead and edit this, and then it'll be available on our website for people to come and take a look at, on the WAI website as well as on our YouTube channel. And then Lindsay, do you have any questions for us? Any comments, any feedback for WAI San Diego?
I just like, I mean, I'm always in awe with the women I meet in aviation, like in general, but this group, like I got with Jacqueline Houston, I got connected with, and like, I feel every person I look at is just such an incredible human. I'm like, oh my gosh, like everyone's so inspiring. So I'm so grateful to share my, little snippet of a story. And I do want to kind of grow a huge following as far as like encouraging women to get involved. And so I want to be more involved with this, but then I've been trying to like on social media, just post my journey and be really vulnerable about it, because I think that's something that's lacking in this community. So yeah, if you guys want to just follow me, I'm at Pilot Linz on Instagram. And I just try to be vulnerable as best as I can, because I think that especially us women, we get looked down upon for vulnerability in this situation and this journey. And it is the hardest thing I've ever done. So just knowing that other people have been successful in it, I think is huge, and what will keep everybody going.
Yeah, thank you so much. You nailed it. And I think that's something that we're really fostering in this chapter and in this community. And I think it's so amazing to find this group of women that really truly are, not only are we supportive of one another, but each and every one of us has some type of different background and knows someone that knows someone who knows someone. So providing the network opportunity and availability for so many different resources is so important. And whenever we do presentations about WAI San Diego, one of the things that I always like to remind everyone of is, this chapter is small and mighty, and we are growing, and we're doing our best to continue to, cast such a wider net to have more women in aviation and aerospace participate with us. But aside from those of us that are here, We also have our corporate backing, which has thousands and tens of thousands of members and resources. So I always remind everyone that if there's something that we're not able to provide you with, you can always just ask us for help. Seek whoever, we've got our board, we've got our committee members, plus just regular old chapter members that you can reach out to. And if you guys ever need anything else from us, let us know, and we will do our best to tap into our corporate resources to get you connected with or provide you with whatever it is that you guys are seeking. So again, it's a wonderful community, and we're super glad and grateful that you guys are all on today's presentation. So thank you again.